right, guys, we are back sooner than I actually expected. Hey, Milo. Let me turn the light on. That's not where I need to go even. See that it started raining a bunch?
It's been raining a bunch.
Is it? Hey, big boy. Oh, fat cat. All right, so let's talk about what you got done today. Talking to you, baby.
I got to like 6 of 7 done.
Of one of the sections?
Uh-huh.
Good. And was that functions?
I think so, yep. Functions.
Alright, cool. So, what we'll do is we'll review what you went over, and then I'll help you on the section you got stuck on, and then we will continue on. Is that good? Do you mind erasing the whiteboard?
I'm eating blueberries.
Hey, godless monkey. Oh, man.
Right after this,
Yeah.
I'm going to bed.
After what?
This.
Erasing the board?
Yeah.
What do you mean? We got an hour of this.
I know. But like right after that. I'm gonna wash my mouth out with mouthwash and I'm just gonna sack the fuck out. And I'm gonna wake up at like 3 or 4 and get all this shit done. Cause I don't like working after work. It's awful.
It's like my life, baby.
Yeah, but you enjoy working after work. I don't.
I don't enjoy it.
Then why don't you get up early and do it in the morning?
Because I already get up at 6.
6 isn't early.
I would literally have to get up at like 2. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get started here. I use GoDaddy for the time being. I'm just reviewing what you did here. Okay, so let's start by why don't you define a function called whatever you want. So first off, what terminology? What's the function do?
God, we went over this yesterday. I know the answer, I do. It... So function is a keyword.
What do they
It has
do?
a name.
Okay.
It's got parameters.
Can have parameters.
Can have parameters. Oh, it's a reusable code.
Reusable. Yes. Okay, so why don't you write an example function real quick? I've not tried projecteuler.net. JavaScript object as a counter. I did see it. I keep that in mind when I finish it up tomorrow.
Anyways, so anyway.
Huh? Okay, so and then you return a value, right? All right. What else? So you have an idea what a function does. That's good. Return 2. Okay, let's look at.
Our backyard is literally a lake right now.
I'll help you with the section that you're struggling with. So, was
I
it?
thought we were gonna work up to that.
No, I think we're here.
I thought you were gonna do a review of the other sections.
I thought this was only when you got done.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear.
I'm confused. Okay.
Okay. All right. What's a variable? What's the point of a variable?
It stores a value.
Good. Now, what are some data types? We move the last day of this month, so about 14 days, 2 weeks exactly. You don't need to write it. This is like fast. No writing necessary.
String. Object. Array. There's 2 more. I know there's 5, honey.
That's not what I was trying to get at.
I know numbers, but it's not called numbers, right?
No, it's called number.
Oh,
Okay.
number.
And then coin flip.
Oh yeah, Boolean.
All right, cool. So you remember data types. Now, what about for loops? What do for loops do?
They store a section of code that you can call to and reuse.
Sort of, yes. It will rerun that section of code as many times.
As it needs to when it's in the for loop.
Okay, write me a for loop that runs 3 times.
Ugh. I don't know if I remember how to do that. Did we even get to for loops?
Yeah, we did.
That's it. That's all I fucking remember.
Takes in 3 parts. In the parentheses, right? Right. You have your iterator, you have your statement, you have your incrementer. Create an iterator, create a statement, increment. What's the point of the creating the iterator?
To start the value.
That's going to be used in the statement. And what's the point of the statement?
To be evaluated.
And to end the for loop at some point. And what's the value of the incrementer?
To add value.
To add value. To break the statement. Cool. So give us an example. It is really pouring out there.
Shit, I don't know. R. I don't know. I don't remember.
R.
Ooh, lightning.
Thunder.
Is it var equals I?
How do we create a variable? All we're doing is creating a variable. Doesn't have to be I. We usually call it I, though. Just because it's short. No. You don't have to create a variable. Come on, baby. No, you don't. You say that again, I'm smacking. So, keyword name assignment operator value. What are we to coding? We are. So I am in the process of teaching. This is day 23 of a 100-day coding challenge, where I am teaching my girlfriend web development. So we're doing JavaScript. She's learning syntax and the basics, man. Okay. So I said I wanted to run what? 3 times, 4 times, 5 times?
3 times.
Okay. So set up a statement where it runs 3 times.
I forgot.
How's it going? She's steadily learning.
Right.
That's right. So what's this say? We're creating a variable at 0, right?
Mhm. And at this.
So it's saying while I is less than 4, run what's in here.
Mhm.
And after each iteration, what is it saying?
Add 1.
Add 1 to I.
Mhm.
Okay.
Isn't there like a semicolon that goes there?
No. Good. So for loops. All right. What do if statements do?
Evaluate to a boolean.
Mm-hmm. So and why do we use them?
To make decisions.
Yes. The computer uses booleans to make decisions. I fucking hit this. I bent it back.
Looks good though, but don't peel that back.
Accidentally hit it when I was coding. Alright, so what are if else's do? Or else ifs, excuse me.
Else if is another form to evaluate a statement
That it only happens
when the if statement fails.
Okay, and what's an else statement do?
It runs a statement where if the if and else if are false.
Yes, else will always run if everything above it fails. Good. So
Unless you put an and or that strip this. Can you put that in and it'll run anyway?
no, you don't understand what that does.
Oh, okay.
So let's explain. Let's evaluate. Let's actually talk about that real quick. So what you're talking about, this is another logical operator, similar to how we have less than, greater than. That's an or an and. So say we have our if statement, and if I say if 1 is equal to 1, or 2 is greater than 1, run our code. So this is or. So if either one of these is true,
right.
it'll run it. Now if I change this to and, let's see. If I change it to and, is this true? 1 is equal to 1?
Yeah.
Is 2 greater than 1?
Yes.
So it would run. This is a bad example. Alright, so 2 greater than 11.
Hey, what happened?
So 1 is equal to 1. This is true, and 2 is greater
False.
than 11 is false. So it doesn't run it.
That's your F.
Yeah. Alright, so that's, understand that has nothing to do with else. It has to do with how it adds more logic to your if statements and everything else.
Okay. I was just curious if you could use it.
Okay, so let's take a look at what you were getting stuck on Codecademy.
Okay, I'm gonna put these away.
Okay. Black marker would be awesome. All right. All right, boys. Black marker it is. For the low price of $9.99, you can get black marker in this episode of April Learns to Code. Alright,
I love infomercials. What the fuck are those symbols? That's what I was thinking.
So inside the get tax functions block, which is, what's a block? Referring to between the curly braces.
Yep.
The scope. Multiply the subtotal times 6% to make sure the return is the result of this operation. So what function are we targeting?
A get subtotal.
Okay.
At least I think that's what we're targeting.
Shit. So, you alright over there?
I don't know. My stomach feels weird right now. I think I had too much pasta or garlic. Whatever. What the fuck did you put in that? My stomach has been feeling weird. Did you poison me?
Poison shit. Alright. Inside get tax, you have get subtotal. So look at this real quick. What is it? Do you know the difference between when you call a function like this and when you call a function like this? Do you know what's happening? Do you know that?
No, I was trying to figure that out though.
Okay, so when you call get subtotal, what's actually, let me show you. What's actually happening is you're not getting the value, you're not getting the return value, you're actually getting the whole function. So if we run this, didn't fucking do it. But essentially what happens is it returns this entire function.
Oh.
Like it just returns this to you. But you rarely would ever do that. But that's where your error is here. Is what you want to do is you actually want to call the function. This function has a return value of item count times 7.5, and then it's going to times it by 0.6. What's going on now?
I don't know, because I did that because that's what I was thinking, but then it said it was still wrong, so then I really got confused.
Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Alright, we're resetting this real quick. Because actually you're right that you taken this parameter, so I was mistaken. I apologize for that. So get tax is saying, hey, you're, oh, I see where your error is, I think. So inside get tax function block multiply subtotal times 0.006. Let's see if it's because it's freaking out. What in the hell is going on here? Oh. Yeah, your code was all jacked up. I assume they set up these functions for you. Okay, so let's reset.
Wait.
Let's explain what's going on.
Yeah, because, okay. Hold on. Okay, hold on.
Start from the top.
Let me, wait a second. Just let me grasp this because I had a whole thought process in my head.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm confused on the. Oh, I see. The subtotal and the total.
Okay, so let's start by taking what we have a variable called order count. That's 0, right? Simple variable storing a number. We're going to use it later on. We have this function that takes in 2 parameters, a topping and a crust type. And what happens is every time we take an order, we increase the order count by 1. And what could we change this equals to if we wanted to write less code? Remember I++? What's I doing? Adding 1 to I.
Oh, I initially did have it.
Okay.
They changed my code.
Okay, good. So it'd be order count ++, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Tito. And so you have a get subtotal item count. So what's going on here? We're passing in a number, and we are then returning that number times 7.5. So that's our subtotal. Each pizza costs $7.50. How many pizzas are you buying? That's the item count. Now what happens next is, and remember, what's this returning?
The item count times 750.
Yes, it's returning a number. So when we call get tax, that's actually calling get subtotal, which is then going to be used right here. And we're just setting this up. Now this is kind of weird that they set this up like this. But look at get total. So get subtotal takes an item, and then you call get tax, which essentially gets that item, gets that value, times it by tax, and then that's all it's returning. So do you understand the math here? Is we're getting the 6% right here based off of the value here, and then we're adding it to that value.
I feel like it's an extra step.
It is. They're breaking up into functions. So this one only gets tax. This one gets total. And then this one only gets subtotal. But you're using functions within functions now.
Yeah, no, I'm getting that part where you can use a function's return and put it into the next function to do the next thing you want from it. So I get that you can hand down each function's return to, get what you want initially from it. I just was confused by the how they wanted to do it, like how they were saying to do it. So where you times it by 0.06, because like if you looked at my code prior, I was thinking that obviously.
I'm going to draw this out. He's right. We should draw it out. So, in our code here, we take 3 orders, right? Mm-hmm. So and every time we take an order, our order count goes up. So what is order count? So we say, hey, 3 pizzas, something like that, right? So I have 3 pizzas. And so the way that we get a subtotal is we call our get subtotal. We want to say, hey, what is our subtotal? Subtotal is equal to 3 times 7.5. We say, hey, what is our tax? So this is our get subtotal. And then we have get tax. And we say, hey, what is our get tax? Well, get tax is equal to our subtotal times 0.06. Right? And then what we say is, hey, what is our total? And our total is equal to, and mind you, each one of these are function calls, our subtotal plus our tax.
Wouldn't our tax give us that?
No, because remember, tax is only returning a percent. It's not now what you could do is you could have done 1.06. So because at that point it would be just 0.6% more, 0.6% more. But here we're actually just generating pure tax.
Oh, okay, so that's why you need the 3 steps.
Yeah. So this gives us our subtotal before tax. That total that that subtotal, we need to know. We know our tax rate is flat at 0.06, which, by the way, would be an amazing tax rate.
Right.
We actually have 0.7. It's not too bad. 0.07 here. About 3 to 4%. So soon to be 5% less, by the way, guys. So if you're ever wondering why you don't go to California, that's a good reason right there. So here you have a flat tax rate, and we're trying to figure out just what the tax rate is. Now, what we need...
It's not giving you anything other than what the subtotal tax would be.
Exactly.
Okay. So then when you ask for the total, it's going to give you the subtotal and the tax together.
And we're adding them together.
Right. And then it's going to return your price.
Yes. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we're calling a function that function returns a subtotal, this function returns the tax, and get total calls that function, adds it to the other function, and they're both returning numbers. So what happens is 10, let's say.
So the parameters of subtotal and tax are going to be used in the return to add those together.
Yes. Makes sense? California takes in so much tax money, and yet somehow they're still somehow broke, and they are still somehow having more homeless people on the street than anybody else. It might have something to do with the median income to own the average house being $155,000. By the way, that's how much you need to make to own the median house. The average house is $765,000 in California. I can tell you right now, most people do not make anywhere near $155,000 to be average. Fuck that.
It takes like 4 people.
Yeah. So, good luck with that, man. The homeowner dream is essentially dead for those of you who want that in California. And being in there all my life, you won't believe how many people are all about that, signing themselves up for a $4,000 loan every month. That's what that comes out to, about $4,000 after a little bit of interest on a $765,000 house. It's fucking stupid. I should film a video just talking about how ridiculous that is.
Why California is the worst place to live.
All right, so let's look at what you're going to be doing tomorrow and see if I can elaborate.
You're going to have to sign on to yours.
I just want to see what's going
on.
on.
I'll let you.
Well, yeah, you're done with that section now. That's where you make your money move somewhere else? Maybe. Okay, let's talk about scope. I want you to understand. So the hard concept will be to understand how all these things work together in the scope. We've talked about global scope and local scope. What does global scope mean?
It means it's going to run all the code.
It means that the variable is or function or whatever else is available everywhere. Okay?
Yep.
So this is line 1. We have var a, and we'll say this is equal to true. So even if we have a function here, and we'll call it, what do we want to call it? We'll call it ex. And we want to say console.log a does this console.log a. It does because it's the global scope, meaning that this a exists in here.
Is available for there.
Yes, it's available to be used. Yes, it's defined within there. So, okay, so this is accessible because it's outside and it's global. Now,
if it was inside that function, it would be.
So if I create a variable here called var b is equal to false, and outside of the loop here, I try to console.log b, what would happen?
It wouldn't do anything. You would get like an error or whatever because
It would
b is within a local scope.
Yes, and it would be undefined. Good. So the next question is, let's take this up a notch. if I have a for loop, say for I is equal to 0, while I is less than 3, I plus plus, and I create something like this.
We should go wash our cars.
Function add.
I found out why my window was sticking. There was sap inside the little groove.
It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah. I cleaned it out and it works fine now.
And I create a variable here called var j is equal to 0. And outside the for loop, but within the function, I console.log j is that within its scope.
I can't determine what's what line. Right?
Yep. That's exactly right.
Like this?
Yep. So when we try console.log j, is that within the scope?
Is it this one or is it this one?
So the console log and the for loop are nested within the function a, or add.
Okay.
So when we try console log j, does it exist? Can we use it? What does it print? Is it within the correct scope?
Oh, so if a scope is within a scope, we may not be able to use that scope?
Yes, because it's nested. See,
So I
nested
create
scopes.
console log the J.
Not right there. It could below it.
Right, because then it would be in that scope. But even though if a scope is nested within a scope, even though it's in the bigger scope.
Yeah, because we nest downwards. So J would be able to go into a deeper scope, but it can't go out. If we define the variable outside the for loop.
Okay, hold on. Deeper scope? What do you mean?
So let's say we had another for loop within our for loop. For J, var J is equal, example, J is a bad example. Var K is equal to 0. While K is less than 3, K plus plus. And we had another one, and we tried to we wanted to print J here. That would work, because this is a scope, this is one block, this is another block, this is another block. We wouldn't be able to do it here, because this is the outmost scope, the inner scope, the innermost scope.
So the innermost scope could call out? I thought you said it could only call in.
Yeah, but you
Wait.
see,
So calling in this way. This is calling in.
yes, going in, going deeper.
Okay, so it's not calling out to the J, it's calling in.
Yes, it nests downwards.
Okay. That's important to know.
Hey Dylan, when you were in college, did the teachers teach concepts of coding on whiteboard methods that you use now? Some did. Most were bad. The good ones did. That's true. I had good. I would say I had two good teachers in college out of all my teachers.
Those are the two that cared.
I would say yeah, probably. And coincidentally enough, they were both former students, which most are just there because it was messed up, man. I really would like to be a teacher. As much as I would hate the pay, and if I had enough money, I would go and be a teacher, and I think I'd be all right at it. But anyhow, do you get how if it's not it can so scopes you can have as many so global scope everything, right? There's not because that's the top most. That's why it's global, and it's kind of like think of it like
That makes a lot of sense because
if you think of it like an address.
hold on a second. What if you put your var age on here? Is it still a global scope with everything above it?
Yes, if it's in the global scope. Teachers get paid very good. Not in America, they don't.
What teachers are you talking about?
Yeah. But yeah, so do you see how they nest inwards? So depending on where it's defined, in this case it's defined within the for loop, it can go into this other for loop that's nested within it because it's within the same scope, the outermost scope. If I were to compare this system...
Oh, so it's like a global scope within the local scope.
Micah, you are smoking fucking crack if you think teachers in California make $60 an hour. Fucking crack cocaine, my friend. Oh my god, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Here we go. Right here, baby. Here we go. This is the highest. This is the average salary right here. The average salary is $63,000, and I bet most of it's even smaller than that. Right here, $57,000 right here. $57,000 is the average. Excuse me. Most are below that. Actually, I guess 50% are below that. The top 10% made $91,000.
Top 10%. 10%.
And mind you, I make...
Yeah, those teachers are lucky to get that. That's probably from other sourced incomes.
$57,000 is... What does that break down to per an hour? College teachers? How many people are college teachers? That's not necessarily true either.
Yeah.
$72,000. There you go, man. Nowhere near fucking... The average annual salary is $72,000. Nowhere near $100,000. And that is about $36 an hour.
And the tenure is a contract, so it depends on what the contract is. And that contract, it will only be paid if the professor fills the contract. So it's more than teaching. You're working more than the hours of a teaching. You're also writing books. You also have to do research. You're working more for the less money than you should be paid. And it doesn't guarantee the total contract if you don't fulfill the requirements that are met by the university themselves. One of my parents, when I was growing up, was a college professor. And she had a tenure, and other college professors that would sit there and talk, there was all different kinds there. That is like a huge issue amongst college professors. So if you get a good deal, then you're one of the lucky ones. But outside of that, it's not as glorified as people might think it might be.
I didn't think anybody thought teacher was glorifying. And by the way, your rate of pay is directly correlated to unless you're a college professor, it differs a little bit, but most teachers are teaching public schools, and that's directly correlated with how many years you've taught. Look, man, I'm telling you, I don't know why you think they make $60 an hour, but you are mistaken. Do we have any mods in Twitch right now? Alright, baby.
Someone get the troll! Get the net!
Get the net?
Yeah.
Okay, so what questions do you have? What do you need? So we talked about scope. There's nested scopes.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get more done tomorrow. Hopefully I don't get stuck again. Got him. Yay!
Thank you, Joshua.
Eight to 9 hours that you can see. My teachers go home, kill it with fire.
This is one look, man. See, this is the shit that fucking pisses me off. This is a single fucking job app. And by the way, CS engineering degree teachers make more because they have to. They can barely get anybody in here. But you are sending me a single fucking job app. I'm talking about pure stats. You know what? There's probably a teacher out there making $500,000 for some reason. You can't say the average teacher makes $500,000. None of that shit makes sense, okay? You can't pull up a single job app and say, this is my evidence. It is one evidence, and it makes sense. You can't have that mindset, man. And this is the thing. You can't say, oh, well, this app says $60 an hour. You know what? I don't make $150,000 a year, and I know developers who do. So for me to say that I'm getting paid grossly underway if he gets paid this amount, no, man, that's not how it goes. You take the average of teacher salary. You can't take an outlier. Anyhow, man. For you to say that teachers make a lot of money is insane. Insane. Insane.
Teacher riots.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, you know what, man? I can't. If you think one job app at 60, and I'm sure you can find 10 like that. The thing is the other 99.9% or 99% are not for $60 an hour. It's not impossible. But
that's part-time, that's not.
Yeah. Anyhow.
That's not a 10-year like you were even saying.
It's like the guys who say, it's like the guys on Matt's channel who, and we're getting off topic on the coding right now, but it's like it's not as easy as picking the right one, because you're talking about the 1%, and the 1% of jobs out there that are paying $60 an hour. You don't pick the fucking job. The job picks you. You can apply. Doesn't mean you're going to get picked, man. So what happens when 99% of the jobs pay $30 an hour? Less than that. Usually start at around 20. What happens then? You take it because you have to, and everyone has hours period. So eventually, may you make $60 an hour? Come on, man. Do they make more money because they obtain extra IT certifications? In this case, you probably are getting more money because it is an IT-related field.
Yeah, it's not because of the certifications. Trust me. College professors have more certifications than they can fit on their wall, no matter what degree you're looking at.
Yeah, I'm done talking about this. We're going back to code. This guy's triggering me with his nonsense. But yeah, man, just try to look more objectively at these things. You're still trying to argue this point over here? You're talking about one job app. You know where I got my statistics? The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is the average of all. All in America. Come on, man. It's like saying, like, well, this one app says, hey, you can do it. It's not realistic, man. I'm not saying you can't make money as a teacher. I'm saying you're putting you in a situation where 9 out of 10 times you're not making good money as a teacher. I'm triggered by the 1%. I'm trying to be with the 1%, man. I'm working hard. All right, guys. Enough of that.
He's trolling. Oh, we got trolls. Infestation.
All right, so we have 10 minutes of review, and then we'll take questions.
What do we got to review now?
Algorithm time.
Ugh.
Remember factorials?
Fuck no.
Alright, write a function that adds two numbers together.
Factorials.
No, forget the factorials. That's too hard for you right now. Write a function that adds two numbers together.
A function.
You know what? Better yet, after you finish this, that's a good one, Godless Monkey. We'll review array functions next. Okay, so keep going. So we wanted to send back. Good. All right, erase it. Now, create an array. You see your phone case, by the way?
Yeah.
You don't sound too thrilled about it.
No, I'm trying to remember. No, I'm very excited about it. I'm trying to remember this.
Create a variable. So what's the order? Keyword, keyword name, assignment operator.
What am I doing?
You're creating an array.
I don't remember.
So how do we create variables? We assign values. Remember, it stores values, and then we have a function, or no, excuse me, an array. Why is it an array?
Because it's got brackets.
And why do we use arrays? What do? They have multiple values.
Oh.
Huh?
I said, oh.
You know this.
I forgot.
So how do we add things to that array? Say we wanted to push onto that array. How would we add things to it?
How do we add things to that array?
Yes.
Oh god. I really vaguely remember.
So we call that array push, and now we'll add it to the end of the array. Whatever value we put in there. And if we want to take the last value off.
Oh, pop.
That's right. Now how do we check the length of the array?
Dot length.
Good.
Key dot length.
Good. You're going to be using array functions a lot.
Okay.
Alright guys, that's it for today. We'll take questions for about 5-10 minutes. If you want to get ready for bed and you say you're tired, we can skip the questions today. I'll do it solo if you want.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Okay. I'll see you in bed in a second.
Okay. Good night.
Fucking teachers make a lot of money. I wish they did, man. The good ones anyhow. I found a lot of bad ones. And I think you'd have more good teachers if they did get paid good money, because it's unfortunate that you have somebody like me who would love to be a teacher if the pay was good enough. I know a lot of people like to be teachers, but when as a developer you can make twice that, if not more sometimes. And you don't have to work your way up, and you're not getting a 3% raise a year. You're getting a it's hard, man. But it is what it is. I've had some good teachers too that I can remember anyhow, and then I've had a lot of bad ones. And the problem with that is that the good ones leave because it's the thing that makes the most sense, and the bad ones stay because nobody wants them. And that would sum up my experience with teachers. And the bad ones, for things like tenure and other things, they get to stay no matter what. Almost no matter what. I'll think about becoming a teacher the day they bring back capital punishment. Don't they still have capital punishment in certain states? Also, the problem is, guys, is that we live in a very skills-oriented world. The education system hasn't changed dramatically since the introduction of the internet and computers, really. And so what's happening is public schools are just behind, man. When I can learn more in 2 weeks on my own than an entire class that takes 3 to 6 months, there's a problem. When I have skills for going to a boot camp for 3 months that a 4-year grad doesn't have, there's a problem. These are real situations. The reason that coding boot camps exist today is because colleges aren't teaching the relevant skills in there, in the real world. Most of the time, anyhow. And it's unfortunate because people are graduating with almost $40,000 of debt on average. It's 37, I believe. And most aren't even getting degrees that will actually make money back. Some will owe money so long that they'll never actually pay it back, and the government will forfeit the loan after 15 or 20 years. It's fucked up. It is ludicrously fucked up. Meanwhile, there's a barrier entry for a lot of people without a college degree in America. Just because. Keep the riffraff out like me, I guess. I don't know. What happens when they forfeit the loan? So, there is a program in place where if you have student loans and you've been making the minimum payments, I'm trying to find it up right now. So it's either 15 or 20 years. But essentially what happens is if you've been making the minimum payments on your student loans for 15 or 20 years, the government, and you still haven't paid it back. And the reason, so let's say as Godless Monkey goes here and says, your friend has a stupid history degree for $50,000. Some people have things as high as $100,000. But on average as of 2017, if you graduate, is $37,000 in debt. Now, if you were paying back a small percentage, but the minimum payment of your student loans, and you've been making $40,000 and you have $50,000 in debt, there is a chance that you can be paying off your student loans for longer than 15 years. 15 years, because even though you took out these loans and you paid the minimum amount for 15 fucking years, they will forgive you because you're so poor. That is the truth. You are forgiven the remainder of your debt that you have been paying for 15 fucking years. 15-year fucking loan to make no fucking money. They forgive it out of the kindness of their heart because they feel so bad for you. That's what happens. I don't know if the government pays it back, but usually most student loans are through a government agency of some sort. And I don't know the details. It's not bad. Yeah, it's better than not being forced. Yeah, because you just basically signed up for indentured servitude for 15 fucking years. Look, man, if you take out $50,000, which that's only $13,000 more. And by the way, there is nothing showing that that's not just increasing. All the data is saying it's going up exponentially. But what happens is everyone's caught up in the system, man. And I don't want to be like, oh man, everyone's caught up in capitalism. But the thing is that colleges have no incentive to change, and so they don't. And what I've noticed recently is the colleges now adding coding boot camps because they're losing money because potential CS students are going to these boot camps, and instead of going to CS and spending $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, they're going to boot camps in 3 months, getting a better education for a fourth of the price, and actually being able to be hired. Now, does everyone succeed in boot camp? No. Do the people who are going to do? Yeah. And what I mean by that is there's two groups of people that ones that succeeds and one don't, and it depends on the individual. But the same thing couldn't be said for college. There's plenty of people that go to college, graduate, have all this debt, and then have to pay it off for 15 fucking years. God damn, man. Oh man. It's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy world. And I'm glad that I at least, so I've known Engineer Truth my entire life. And having him as a friend has kind of opened my eyes up a little bit to the options of the world. Because no one will tell you no one will tell you that hey, you need to go chase your dreams, or that hey, let me tell you about these other options that aren't as shitty. Just do the shitty option because your parents did it before them, which was when your parents went to college, chances are is 1/3 the cost, by the way. So it's now since then tripled. And earlier we were talking about how the average house in California, if you want the median house, you need $155,000 a year salary for basically average. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. That's in Orange County, by the way. Orange County. But that's crazy, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, you guys see me, man. You see me. So someone asked me earlier, how do I stay motivated? Are you still here, man? Fuck me. Fuck you. No. I was fucking with this guy. Anyhow, someone asked me why don't people migrate away from California? So I'll answer that, and then I'm going to answer your question, Dragon, the vape god. Watch out now. So because people are caught up in the hype, man. I migrated away from California because all it is homeless people, poverty. Because what happens is when what do you think happens when houses are houses are $155,000 salary is what you need for the average house in Orange County. Well, simply, it's unaffordable, and you start getting pushed out. Your taxes are higher than they are anywhere else. But sorry guys, I'm getting distracted by these guys. But people are legitimately caught up in the hype. I've lived in California my entire life, and I can tell you that there's nothing beneficial to it. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but there's also 2 hours of traffic and a 22-mile drive. Why would you want that? Why would you want the highest taxes with the highest cost of living and all this sort of awfulness? It's just hot and dry. People think the weather's so great. It's not. It's awful, man. But anyhow, I got out. I tried to get out, and here I am. So, thank you, Joshua. Yeah, I don't know what's up with these Twitch guys, man. Do they just like jump into here to yell at channels? Is that what's up? I don't know, man. How old am I and why do I sell train tricks? Oh, that's what you're getting at. I am 29 years old, and I am wearing braces. I guess I'm not wearing them. I have braces because my teeth shifted, and it was cheaper to get that than Invisalign. That is the truth. So, they'll be off in a little bit. And when you're this handsome, ladies just don't give a shit about the braces. That's kind of an L. You could say that, man. But, I mean, I make up for it in other ways. So, you gotta do what you gotta do, though, man. Having more of a bigger L is having crooked teeth, I would say. That'd be the honest God truth. So, motivation. So, what keeps me motivated? This is a good question, man, because a lot of people have an issue with staying motivated, and it all comes down, for at least in my case, in terms of tips and what worked for me, is I had a clear goal that I only really thought about. I can put this. Once I hit essentially what I considered my rock bottom, right? And that doesn't mean like you have to be out there homeless and things like that. Everyone's got a certain point in their life where they'll reach that I didn't ever think this was going to be my life moment, I would say. And if you ever hit that, you really have one of two choices. You either continue past that, or you'll say never again. And so, for me, it was when my mother when times were really hard for April and I, and my mom would bring us groceries, and I couldn't buy things she was bringing us groceries consistently because we couldn't afford food and rent and all that. And so, what happened was, even though she brought us groceries, it wasn't enough. And so, yeah, the how I ended up here moment was I couldn't buy underwear. I didn't have the money for it. I spent all my money on food and gas, and I wasn't going to have money anytime I needed underwear. Something simple like that. And I was just there, having it in my hand, and it was just kind of an epiphany that this isn't the life that I wanted to live, and I needed to make changes. And I know what I wanted, and I had to devise a plan to go about it, and so I did. And every day, I said to myself, every day until I accomplished my goal. And mind you, I had several goals, but you have to do them in steps, right? So I think the hardest part about motivation is you see the top of the mountain when really you should be looking at the base first, because you're never actually going to reach the top. Because once you reach that next step, you're going to be one step closer to another step that you have to accomplish. And that's really how you stay motivated, is you go piece by piece by piece. And the top of the mountain is almost like perfection, where you're always chasing it, but you're never achieving it, because your goals are going to continue to grow, and you're going to continue to try and attempt to get there. Because once you feel success and you accomplish success, you're going to want it again and again and again, and you're going to work hard for it. So for me, I had to say, what is it that I wanted to change in my life? I didn't want to be poor anymore. That was what I wanted to change more than anything. And what I did was I told myself and April at the time, I said, look, I'm going to start applying for jobs. I'm going to get a job, better job, that's software related. And if I get a role, I'm dropping out of school. And I'm going to work myself up into a developer position. And I had a plan. And every day, because I had that, as you know, the how did I end up here moment, I thought back to that moment every single day. I said to myself, what happens if I don't work towards that goal today? I could go back one day. But I'm stepping forward every day. I'm getting one step closer every day. And so I just kept working, and I got that job, filling out apps, studying, and the whole. So I got one step. That was my first step, right? The base of the mountain. Don't focus on the mountaintop. The mountaintop was full stack, developer, self-employed developer. That was the mountaintop. And so I focused on the base of the mountain. I said, I want to get to the mountaintop, but I can't just. You gotta walk before you run, right? So I made the.
Crawl before you walk.
You gotta crawl before you walk, right? You gotta be the girlfriend for 20 years before you're married. That's another rule. So for me, I always think back to that moment of how incredibly bad I felt. And it keeps me motivated. It was the moment where there was a guy in here, and I'm assuming he's a younger guy, who came in and said, hey, I really want to study software, but thank you, baby. But I can't stop playing video games so much. And to me, it's just, you're a young guy. You probably haven't had that aha moment. Maybe you're living at home. Everything's provided for you. But there really becomes a time in your life where you will say, do I want it bad enough? And I did. And I do. And I still am chasing the things that I want. So, one second, guys. I'll finish up I'll wrap all this up right now. But motivation, right? You find motivation in yourself. External resources help. And and that's not to say you're always going to be motivated. I've talked numerous times about those times where I didn't want to keep going. And you had to, because we all have those moments of weakness. That's the thing about motivation. Motivation can only take you so far. It can remind you of your goals, but unless you actually put in the work and the effort, you're never going to get there. Because it's no one's job but yours to achieve your goals and your dreams and to be happy. That's no one's job but yours. And a lot of people, they have dreams and they have aspirations, and they say, one day I want to do this. One day I want to get in shape. One day I want to work for myself. And so if I were to say to you, what are you doing right now to get there? And you're not doing anything. You're not actively working forward towards it. It's nothing. It's not a thought. It's nothing. All it is talk. That's all it is. So if you asked me and you said, hey, Dylan, what are you doing to work for yourself one day? I could tell you 3 things that I'm doing every day to be moving forward. And if I were to ask you, what are you doing what are you doing to become a software developer? What are you doing? And if you're not coding daily, you're not paying for tutoring sessions, you're not doing courses, you're not building projects. You don't want it enough. That's it. It's just what are you doing with your time? Are you playing Call of Duty? I don't have anything against you playing Call of Duty, by the way. But what are you doing with your time? And a lot of people think hard is impossible. No, it's just hard, man. It's just hard. That's it. Not impossible. It's hard. It was a hard decision to tell my father and my parents that, hey, I'm dropping out of school and I'm working at this software company to do technical writing. It was hard coming home every day for 8 months coding 4 hours after work, 12, 14 hours on the weekend. It was hard, man. Have people had harder lives? Of course they have. People in rougher situations? Of course. But it was hard for me. But I knew what I wanted. I was one step closer every day. One step closer, man. And the only way that you can get there is if you focus on the step ahead and not the top of the mountain. Some people get overwhelmed. Was it hard to leave California and drive across country? No. that was the easiest decision I had in a while. But it was hard to get the skills to be eligible so that when opportunity struck, I put myself in a situation I was ready to go. When I knew that I wanted to go, I had been actively pursuing this dream, this goal, maybe goal 1, goal 2, whatever you want to say. I have goal 3, 4, 5, and 6, and when I hit 6, I'm gonna have 7, 8, 9, and 10. But the point is I put myself in a situation and get there, and you can too. You just have to actively actually want it. When they called, said, hey, we got a job in Florida for a full stack developer for good pay, great experience, everything you're looking for. Can you come? Do you want to come? Yeah, I want to come. And I ended my lease 3 weeks before that when I started applying. I moved back home, stayed with my mom. I hated living with my mom. It was embarrassing. 28 years old, living at home. Embarrassing. Not what I wanted. But I was working hard, man. It was just a matter of time. And when you're motivated, everyone has different motivations. Find what motivates you. For me, it's wanting to work for myself or wanting to be self-employed. It just depends, man. But I would say if you need to find motivation, really find out what it is you want to do. And next time you're sitting down and you're playing games for 4 hours and you wonder why aren't I happy? Because I used to play a ton of games, man. And really what I ended up finding out is that I still play games like on occasion. I got a GTX 1080 Ti in here and whatnot if I wanted to play games on the PC. But what I really found out is that I wasn't necessarily playing games for fun or enjoyment anymore. It was more of a It was more of an escape, is exactly what it was. It was a, hey, I need to forget about how shitty my life is. And what I can tell you is that it's not any way to live a life. So find what motivates you and you know what, man, get some self-discipline. In my case, I got rid of all my gaming systems. I uninstalled all my games on my PC. And I knew what I wanted. I didn't get a TV in my house or anything like that. I didn't have nothing other than a PC, and I grinded it out It took me as long as it did, and here I am. And I'm much better off than most. But work towards it every day and find what you want. My PayPal link doesn't work. Sorry, man. You go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/codingtutorials360. It'll be on there somewhere. I'll have to fix that. What's that, baby? What do you want, my love? Huh? She wants the D. No, it's getting late, guys. I'll wrap it up with this. Find what motivates you. Think about it every day. And even if it's just 30 minutes a day, work towards that goal. And you'll see progress, man. And I think progress is the strongest motivator. And it may be hard at first to see that progress. It may be hard at first because it takes momentum. Success and motivation is a very momentum-heavy thing. When you're doing well, it's easy to be motivated. When you're not doing well and you're trying to find that motivation, it's harder. So just work towards it daily, and eventually you'll see a little bit of progress, and that will get you going. So just think about it daily, work towards it daily, and the motivation will be there. That was it for me. Just I hit that how did I get here moment. I couldn't buy my chonies, and I was out of here. And sometimes it's hard to see your own progress, but when you make leaps and bounds, eventually you'll see one of them. You know, you may not see the study steps as we go, but you'll get there piece by piece, man. Whatever it is that motivates you. You want to be a professional gamer? Do the professional gamer route. Now be smart about it. Do all that. You want to be a software developer? Tons of resources out there for anything. The internet has made this world a great place, man. Take full advantage of it. I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you for watching. If you want to support me, you can at patreon.com/codingtutorials360. This was day 23 of April Learns to Code. A little bit of a shorter day because April started her job today. If you haven't already, make sure to join our Facebook group, Code Tech and Caffeine. The link is in the description. I will see you all tomorrow for day 24. Bye. I appreciate y'all. Stay motivated.